Okay, so let us talk about the Mauryan Empire. I hope you got the chronology all right. हमने कैसे स्टार्ट किया था? स्टोन एज के बाद क्या था, जल्दी बताइए. आईवीसी, इंडस वैली सिविलाइजेशन, एंड देन you have the Vedic age, then you have the Mahajanapads, then you have the rise of Magad, and then Magad fell and Maurya dynasty came. Magad fell and Maurya dynasty came, and then Maurya dynasty fell, and the Satavahanas and the Kushanas and all those rose, and then the Guptas came. So where are we? We are here. We have completed all this. Now we are here. Okay, so chronologically चलना है आपको. So Mauryan Empire 321 BCE to 185 BCE. So there was no break. This was a continuous empire. Generally, what we have seen after Mauryas, there is a break. Small empire, and then one big empire, the Gupta Empire comes, consolidates, and then it breaks. Small empire, then Harshvardhan tries, and then it breaks, sort of this. But here, what has happened, that a big empire was transferred to another big empire. Okay. So Mauryan Empire जो है, this was a pan-subcontinental empire which extended over large parts of modern South Asia. But what is the good thing about Mauryan Empire is that it built upon the Magadhan legacy. Magad ne, it gave the Mauryans some area, a good chunk of area, and the Mauryans added. Okay. The Mauryans, they added on that. And it emerged after Chandragupta Maurya overthrew the Nanda dynasty. And capital was again at Patliputra. It was a beautiful strategic location. That is why the people, the dynasties were very much in awe of the strategic importance of Patliputra. And this continued the Magadhan legacy. What are the archaeological and the literary source? So we know about the Mauryan dynasty via Arthashastra. So Arthashastra की भी story बड़ी interesting है. Arthashastra was discovered by a librarian in the Mysore library. So Mysore Royal Library mein there was a librarian, and he discovered the Arthashastra which was written on the leaves, and it was just thrown like anything, and then he sat down and he was able to translate and he was able to get it, and then he announced to the world that this is what is happened, that I have stumbled upon the great Arthashastra. So Arthashastra was not known till the 1900s. Till the 1890 and 1900, Arthashastra was a forgotten piece. It was revived by a Mysore librarian who later on was rewarded a good sum of money by the Maharaja of Mysore, and he was made the chief librarian of Mysore. Okay, so I think somebody can get his name via Google. कोई गूगल चला के एक बार उनका नाम बता सकते हो, लेकिन दिस इज द स्टोरी ऑफ अर्थशास्त्र. आई एम फॉरगेटिंग द पर्सन्स नेम. देन कम्स इंडिका बाय मेगास्थेनिस. So Indica is also a source, and it talks about the Mauryan polity, the city layout of Patliputra, and the social norms. Okay, so he was the Greek ambassador to the Chandragupta court. Some people, they are of the opinion that Megasthenes never left Greece, let alone being the ambassador. Okay, let alone being the ambassador to Chandragupta, he never left Greece. So that is some controversy regarding Indica by Megasthenes. And then you have Buddhist texts which are Divya Vadana and Mahavamsa, which contains reference to the Mauryan king. Okay. So Deepavamsa, remember this, Deepavamsa and Mahavamsa are the texts of which area? Deepavamsa is Sri Lankan. Please remember this. It's the Buddhist text which details Sri Lankan history. So Mauryan king Ashok had sent his son Mahendra and his daughter Sanghamitra on a ship to Sri Lanka. And do you know who are the Sinhalas? The Sinhalas are the Sri Lankans, the people of Sri Lanka. The Tamilians are basically later migrants. The bulk of the Tamil migration happened due to the need, due to the need of the Britishers on the tea farms. Okay, so that is a different thing. श्रीलंका के जो ओरिजिनल inhabitants है, they are called as Sinhalas. And do you know the Sinhalas from where they trace their lineage? Where they trace their lineage? They trace their lineage from the Udiyas, from Kaling. Okay, so if you will see the Sinhala language and the Odia language, it bears a similarity. Even today, you will have Bali Jatra. Bali Jatra jo hai, this is something that is done by the Odiyas, and it signifies the seafaring attitude of the Kaling people. Okay. All right. So this is something that you need to understand, that in the Jain tradition, it mentions Chandragupta Maurya's later life, where he went to Shravana Belagola and he did ritualistic suicide by starvation. Archaeology, it remains at Patliputra. Kumrar करके एक जगह है पटना में. So there you can find the archaeological site. And then you have the major rulers of the Mauryan Empire. So let us start. So who was the founder? Chandragupta Maurya, we told he was a shepherd boy who was taken in by Kautilya, and he rose to power, and he was advised by Chanakya, and he overthrew Dhananand, and he extended control from Indus to Gangetic heartland. He confronted Seleucus Nicator, who was Alexander's governor in West Asia, and then a treaty recognized Chandragupt's authority over the Indus, सिंधु नदी से लेके मॉडर्न डे अफगानिस्तान तक he was able to capture, and he married Seleucus Nicator's daughter. There is no mention of a kid between Seleucus Nicator's daughter Helen and Chandragupta, although some people say that Helen married. Okay, Helen married Seleucus. He married Chandragupta Maurya, and in exchange Seleucus received 500 war elephants. तो आप देखते हैं उनको, हमें उनकी चीज क्या चीज चाहिए थी, हमें उनके हॉर्सेस चाहिए थे. We wanted their horses, they wanted our elephants. Okay, we sent them elephants because we had abundant in our forests, whereas those people, they had horses from Central Asia and the Persian and the Arab regions, so they basically sent us horses. So that is how the trade happened. So हमें ऐसा लगता है कि हम बहुत पिछड़े हुए हैं. हमारे पास तो यार हॉर्सेस नहीं थे भाई, हमारे पास उससे भी बेटर चीज थी. We had the elephants which strike terror into the hearts of the Alexander's soldiers, and they refused to fight the Nandas, and they said कि चलो वापस. Okay, so then you have Megasthenes' embassy. So Megasthenes was stationed at Chandragupta's court, and he talks about a vast imperial capital. Some Jain accounts say that Chandragupta renounced the throne. So there was a saying that there was a 12-year famine. There was no rain for 12 years, and lot of people, they died. Okay, a lot of people, they died. The population, it shrunk, and the Jains, they started to worry that okay, we will not survive. So some said that it is time to leave Magad and go towards south where there is rain. So half of the people, the Digambars, they went to the south, and this person Chandragupta Maurya also went to a place called Shravana Belagola. This is very important. Shravana Belagola in Karnataka, and he committed Saleh Khan, which was a ritual fasting. It is a suicide basically, where you don't eat anything and then you kill yourself. Okay, so this is the ultimate form of penance. Okay, ultimate form of penance. Megasthenes noted absence of famine in India. So that is why some people say that Megasthenes never left Greece and he just wrote it from their room. Okay, जैसे होता है ना ट्विटर पे कुछ लोग बोलते हैं ना कि भाई अमेरिका इतनी मस्त जगह है, कभी अपने शहर से नहीं निकले. कि वही टियर 3 इंडियन सिटी में ही बैठे हुए ट्विटर चला रहे हैं, अमेरिका मस्त जगह है। सो उसी तरीके से देर इज अ वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग लॉबी who say that Megasthenes never left Greece, let alone being an ambassador in Chandragupt's court, Chandragupta Maurya's court. Okay. But there was a famine that is said, there was a famine. It is said that for 12 years there was a famine, and nothing was growing in the Magad region. That is why the Jains, they came together and they said that, okay, it is time to leave. But some people, they stayed back and they said that, no, no, okay, we cannot leave Magad. Magad is our homeland. And some people say that if you will stay in Magad, then, okay, all the best, because you're not going to survive. And it is said also that when Chandragupta Maurya died, he killed himself. He basically sacrificed himself by Saleh Khan. There was rain in Magad, in Maurya, in Magad area. जो पाटलिपुत्रा वाला रीजन है वहां पर क्या है, वहां पर रेन था. सो व्हाट पॉसिबल रीजंस कुड बी? It could be a strong El Nino. Do you think that if this is true, the story of a 12-year famine is true, so it could be due to a strong El Nino factor, है ना? El Nino कभी पढ़ा होगा आपने ज्योग्राफी में. So it can be possible that this area did not receive rain because of a abnormally strong El Nino factor. ओके, सो एवरीथिंग हैज टू बी ऑब्जेक्टिव माय फ्रेंड्स. कुछ भी स्टोरी में हम लोग भूलेंगे नहीं. हम लोग जो है कुछ भी स्टोरी में भूलेंगे नहीं. एवरीथिंग हैज टू बी साइंटिफिक, एवरीथिंग हैज टू बी लिंक्ड. देन कमिंग टू हिज सन बिंदुसार, and Bindusar was the son of Chandragupta Maurya. So Chandragupta abdicated. What does abdication means? When the king voluntarily leaves his throne. Generally, when the king dies, the prince, he becomes the king. But in some cases, when the king is very old, he renounces the throne, and the prince, he comes and becomes the king. That is what happened with Bhutan. That is what happened with Japan. Okay, the king was alive, but he was 87 years old, so he left the throne, and then you had the new king, the prince, taking his place. Okay, so he was the son of Chandragupta Maurya, Bindusar. I told you the story again and again. And Greek sources call him Amitrokatis, okay, or possibly a corruption of the Amitra Ghata. अमित्र घात का मतलब क्या है? अमित्र घात, मौत, मौत के घात उतार देना. अमित्र घात मतलब जो अपने एनिमीज को, जो अपने एनिमीज, अमित्र. मित्र इज फ्रेंड, अमित्र इज एनिमी, एंड अमित्र घात, हु स्लेज हिज एनिमी. ओके. हाँ, it's a good name. So there was a meme also that what people in the early days used to have the names, and the Chad का post था, and they had Ajat Shatru and Amitra Ghat and all these names, Chandragupta, and then आज का नाम क्या था? uh, Priyanshu, sort of all these names were there, है ना? So administration and expansion under Bindusar. So continued centralized governance. Now this is again very important. Centralized governance का मतलब क्या है? Everything was controlled from पाटलिपुत्र. ठीक है. Everything was controlled from पाटलिपुत्र. Extended Mauryan control further south. So Bindusar जो है, he went further south, okay, and possibly up to modern day Karnataka. But the Tamil regions were outside the direct control, and in the Ashokan edicts, it is said that there is a good relations with the Kerala Putra and the Cholas or the Tamils. कोर्ट में एम्बेसडर कौन था? डाइमेकोस था. एंड जैन एंड बुद्धिस्ट सोर्सेज, दे रिमेन साइलेंट अबाउट एनी काइंड ऑफ लार्ज स्केल कैंपेन. अब थोड़ा सा ध्यान से सुनिएगा. उस समय का जो कैंपेन्स था, दिस वाज, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट 500, 400, 300 सॉर्ट ऑफ बीसी टाइमलाइन. तो ध्यान से समझिए दैट उस समय जो कैंपेन्स यूज टू बी, हु कम्स फर्स्ट. व्हाट डज इट मीन? It means that India was not as populated. The population of the entire nation was barely 50-60 lakh. So large swaths of land was empty. Okay. So it typically boiled down to that okay, this area is empty, let me go and establish a fort or establish a fortification and then claim this area as mine. So Karnataka में उस समय there was very sparsely populated area, maybe few villages. So it became easy for any empire to go and capture those area. आज के डेट में है ना that everything is densely populated. India's population skyrocketed to 170 crores. But those days, the entire population of the subcontinent was 60-70 lakhs. If you remember, we have talked about Inam Gaon. Inam Gaon में क्या था? Neonate bodies. So it was a miracle that a kid would survive in fancy. People used to have 7-8 kids. 1 or 2 used to survive the infancy. Okay. So that is the whole thing, that why they were able to march to Karnataka. Because it was open land. Nothing was there. Later on came the Vijayanagar and all the glorious empires. But in the early days, when human beings just got out of the Vedic age, it was everything was who came to that land first. Okay. अब जैसे कोई एरिया है outside the Mahajanapad region that was empty. Forests upon forests upon forest. Modern day Hyderabad, it was forest. Modern day Bengaluru was forest. Chennai was forest. Mumbai was forest. ओके सो वो ये सारी चीजें नहीं थी, उस समय का साइकोलॉजी समझना पड़ेगा. Then after Bindusar came the greatest of the ruler, that is Ashok. And in the initial years, he had the struggle with Kalinga. Kaling जो था, it was a very very tough enemy, and a lot of kings, Bindusar included, they tried to control Kaling, but they were not able to. Kaling was later incorporated as a province by Ashok after a bloody war. And there is a one king I have talked about in detail, Kharavel. Okay, his inscriptions are Hathi Gumfa. Please remember this. Hathi Gumfa inscriptions are important. Okay. Kaling war was very brutal, and it is said that it led to Ashoka's transformation. Kharavel was the guy who threatened to siege Ashok's capital, Patliputra. So Kharavel said that if Ashok will not stop his war of conquest, okay, then Kharavel will take his army and he will come and, basically kill the people of Patliputra. So under Ashok, the Mauryan realm, it extended over almost the entire subcontinent, and it maintained diplomatic ties with Hellenistic West, Sri Lanka, and possibly beyond the region. And इसमें जो है, दो वी आर एक्सक्लूडिंग द एडिक्ट्स, यहां पर जो है आपको ये समझना है कि धम्मा महामत्रास, ओके, धम्मा महामत्रास जो है, दीज वेयर द इंपॉर्टेंट, ओके, इंपॉर्टेंट ऑफिसर्स. तो बेसिकली अशोक के पीआर एजेंट्स थे. ये कौन थे? अशोक के पीआर एजेंट्स थे. प्लीज रिमेंबर दिस. ठीक है. मौर्यन एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन एंड गवर्नेंस की बात करते हैं. द किंग वॉज द सुप्रीम अथॉरिटी. सो प्लीज रिमेंबर दिस वॉज ए सेंट्रलाइज्ड एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन. एवरीथिंग वॉज कंट्रोल्ड फ्रॉम पाटलिपुत्र. एंड काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर्स वॉज कॉल्ड द मंत्री परिषद, जैसे आज है. In today's time also, the Council of Minister in Hindi, it is known as Mantri Parishad. Minister of Defense, Raksha Mantri. Okay. So Mahamatyas and Amatyas were ministers or high officials. Senapati, the commander in chief. सेनापति कह लो, सेना अध्यक्ष कह लो. अध्यक्ष का मतलब क्या होता है? हेड. When I say कोषाध्यक्ष, कोषाध्यक्ष is the head of the treasury. Okay. प्रोविंसेस को क्या कहते थे? अहराज और प्रदेशास. एंड द एम्पायर वॉज डिवाइडेड इनटू मेजर प्रोविंसेस एंड इट वॉज ऑफन गवर्न्ड बाय रॉयल प्रिंसेस. सो अशोक वॉज ऑल्सो अ प्रोविंशियल गवर्नर फर्स्ट. अंडर बिंदुसार ही वॉज ए प्रोविंशियल गवर्नर उज्जैन की तरफ, एंड देन ही बिकेम द किंग. When he got to know that his father has passed away, he started to march with his army towards Patliputra. He saw that his incompetent brothers are fighting among themselves. He seized that opportunity and subdued his brothers and killed 99 of them and threw them in a place called Agamkuwa in Patliputra. What were the notable provinces? Tosali, that is Kalinga, Ujjain, part of Avanti, Takshila, and Suvarnagiri, that is in south. Suvarnagiri मतलब क्या होता है? सोने. Suvarna means सोना. So south से सोना आता था, तो हो सकता है that is a possible name. And then comes the capital itself, Patliputra, which controlled all these four provinces. Local administration में you have Rajukas who were responsible for the land measurements and the boundary demarcation and the judicial duties. तो basically जो आज के डेट में आपका लैंड रेवेन्यू का काम होता है, लैंड रेवेन्यू डिपार्टमेंट, एंड देन यू हैव द एसडीएम बेसिकली हैविंग द लैंड रेवेन्यू कोर्ट और द लैंड कोर्ट. तो उसी तरीके से राजुकाज यूज्ड टू बी देयर. देन द युक्ताज वेयर द सबऑर्डिनेट ऑफिसर्स or the record keepers. Then you have Gop. These were in charge of 5 to 10 villages or cluster of villages. And then the village head was known as Gramika. City administration एक committee system के through होता था. There used to be a committee which used to look for different things. There was a market committee, there was a fortification committee, there was a coinage committee. Okay. Is Ashok governor of present day? I did not understand. Ashok is governor. अगर उस समय की बात कर रहे हैं तो प्रेजेंट डे मध्य प्रदेश रीजन को. ओके, प्रेजेंट डे मध्य प्रदेश रीजन का गवर्नर था. ओके, सो प्रिंसिपल सोर्स ऑफ स्टेट इनकम क्या था? इट वाज ऑफन 1/6 ऑफ द प्रोड्यूस. एंड होता क्या था दैट सपोज इफ यू हैड 6 bags of agricultural goods, if you had 6 bags of agricultural goods, 1 bag had to be set aside for the state. The officials used to come and they used to record that okay, this village has given its share. Irrigation, the state undertook major canal and reservoir project. उसमें से major irrigation था Sudarshan Lake, and Sudarshan Lake is something that later on as well a lot of kings, they had taken the credit for its improvement and repair. And Sudarshan Lake is where? It is in the Girnar region. Okay, it's located in the Girnar region. Today it is known for what? Today it is known for what? It is known for the Gir lions. Okay, the only place where, only place in India where you will find the Asiatic lions. Okay, all right. Then external trade happened via Tamra Lipti and Bharuch. Okay, Bharuch as in Gujarat wala Bharuch, you are correct. Monetary system में they used punch marked coins in silver, copper. Please remember कौन सा material use हुआ था? Silver and copper. Gold वगैरह जो है, it became popular later on. Who was the dynasty who made it popular? It was the Kushans who made it popular. Very good. Okay, so all these are important. We have done. All right. So यहाँ पर एक चीज है कि आर्किटेक्चर improved after contacts with the Persians. So Persian, when the Mauryan engineers and architects, they came in contact with the Persian engineers and architect, then the things changed. Then the Mauryan architecture, including the stupas and the Ashokan edicts, it started to become smoother. Okay. It started to become what? It started to become smoother and more polished. Then decline of Mauryan Empire, it happened because of his immediate successor were less effective. And then Pushyamitra Shung, the Shung was basically a general of the Sena Adhyaksh of the army, and then he rebelled. So do you see how similar we are to our ancestors. If you will see in modern day also, Egypt, who did the coup? The army general. है ना? Africa, who does the coup? Army general. Syria, Bashar al-Assad's father was a uh, Air Force marshal. He did the coup. Okay, Saddam Hussein, all these people, okay, all the Saddam Hussein was not a general, as in he was not an army man, he was a Ba'athist party leader, but he was a military man. Okay, he used to wear the military marshal tags. Okay, so how similar we are, Musharraf, how similar we are to our ancestors. उस समय भी military generals used to power play. Okay, so overthrew the last Mauryan ruler, which was Brihadat, and founded the Shunga dynasty. And what was the reason for the decline? Over centralization. There was no decentralization. Everything was controlled from Patliputra till the time Patliputra was strong. Things were good. The moment Patliputra declined, the empire declined because the center of power declined. There was financial strain. Bureaucracy became very big. It was very costly to manage. The salaries of the bureaucrats was very huge. There was a large standing army. See, army is a drain. आर्मी क्या होता है आर्मी एक ड्रेन होता है बिकॉज यू हैव टू फीड द आर्मी यू हैव टू प्रिपेयर द आर्मी यू हैव टू हाउस द आर्मी you have to recruit people and it costs money and it does not generate money in return. It is a drain. Okay, it's sort of a transfer payment only. Then there was succession issue and regional disaffection as well. So all these things are important. This is something that we have studied. So इसी तरीके से Mauryan Empire is done. Any doubts that you guys have? Any doubts that you guys have in the Mauryan Empire?